You're watching the Motorola Moto G10 disassembly. If you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, the SIM tray needs to be removed. Once the SIM tray is removed, you need to place a plastic pry tool in between the back housing and the frame of the screen and pop the catches all along the phone. Now, before you can completely lift up and remove the back housing, there's some adhesive around the camera assembly over here, along with some adhesive around the fingerprint reader over here. So you're gonna have to press down on the fingerprint reader while you're lifting up the back plate so you don't rip off the flex cable for the fingerprint reader. So the back housing itself is plastic. On the inside of the back housing, you have an antenna flex cable on the top and on the bottom, as well as your NFC antenna located over here. There's also a graphite sheet over here along the inside of the back housing. At this point, there is some black tape around the back. One's over here, one over here, one over here along this edge, and one over here. Some portion of the tapes are covering some screws, so we're going to have to either peel off or lift up these tapes so we can gain access to those screws. Next, there are 16 Phillips screws which need to be removed. Once the screws are removed, we can lift up and remove the top plastic cover. So here's a look at your top plastic cover. Your camera lens cover is located over here and it is glass. And if you ever break that, all you have to do is apply heat to the glass portion, which would help loosen up the adhesive that's holding it down, and then you could pry off that glass portion. Here's a look at the other side. Next, the battery cable has to be disconnected. Once the battery cable is disconnected, you can go ahead and disconnect the rest of the cables. There's a white cable over here in the corner which needs to be popped off. There's also a copper tape over here which needs to be peeled off in order to disconnect the front-facing camera. The flex cable over here in the corner of the motherboard is for your power button and volume keys. There's a lock over here or latch which needs to be lifted up. And then the flex cable can be slid out and removed. There are 2 Phillips screws holding down the main board. Once you remove the screws, the main board can be lifted up and removed. So taking a closer look at the main board, there is a liquid damage indicator, which is right over here, this white sticker. You have your headphone jack located over here. Your LED flash is located right here. And the flex cables for these cameras can be disconnected by just popping them off. On the back side, the SIM card and memory card reader is located right over here. The proximity sensor is located over here, and next to the proximity sensor, there's a small white notification LED, which lights up only when the phone is completely drained in battery, and the screen doesn't have enough power to display anything when it's plugged into charge. This way, when this LED lights up on the top corner of your screen, it notifies you that the phone is being charged. There just isn't enough power yet to display anything on the screen. This LED, however, is not programmed by the software to notify you of text messages or anything like that. Once the shields have been removed, we can see some thermal pads over here, which sit on top of the processor and memory, as well as a thermal pad over here, which sits on top of that chip. It's time to remove the speaker assembly. So here's a look at the speaker itself underneath this plastic housing. There's a flex cable over here which needs to be disconnected. And also this wire cable over here which needs to be popped off. There's 1 Phillips screw holding down the subboard or charger port board on the bottom. Once that screw is removed, we can lift up and remove the subboard. On the subboard, your main microphone is located right over here, and there's a rubber gasket around the charger port itself. Here's a look at the other side. In order to remove the battery, we need to use some isopropyl alcohol, and we need to get some around the edges of the battery, and let it sit for about a minute so it eats away at the adhesive underneath the battery, making it easier to pry off. Here's a better look at the battery. Once the battery has been removed, we can see this flex cable over here, which connects to both your screen, and this cable over here which connects to the subboard or charger port board on the bottom. So if you ever needed to replace your screen, you would need to heat up the front of the phone where the screen is, So you can loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then you'd pry your screen off, making sure you run your screen cable through the slit or opening over here in the mid frame. And you would get your new screen, run your screen cable back through the slit or opening in the mid frame, as well as the one over here on the bottom, and then reapply your screen and just reassemble your phone. So your vibrator mode is located over here on the bottom corner, and there's a flex cable over here, which connects your sub board to the speaker itself over here. There are two thermal pads located over here, which sit underneath the motherboard, and there is a liquid damage indicator over here under the SIM slot. And finally, your earpiece speaker is located over here on top. And that earpiece speaker is just held down with adhesive. So for the repairability score, I give this phone a 7 out of 10. I do like the fact that the back is just held down with clips and it's easily removable without the need of prying adhesive off for the back plate. But the battery itself doesn't have any easy pull tabs to help you pry off, so you are going to need some isopropyl alcohol to remove that. Now it's time to put the phone back together. Once all the screws are back in place, you can reapply your back housing. Then flip over your phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.